Hi, this is Dr. Thomas Armstrong. I'm making a series of short videos to introduce my book, The Power of Neurodiversity, Unleashing the Advantages of Your Neurodivergent Brain. This is a completely revised and updated second edition of a book that I originally wrote in 2010. This is number 23 in this video series, and the topic of today is enriching social networks for people with ADHD. In my book, I talk about the process of niche construction. This is what birds do when they build nests, spiders when they spin webs, ants when they build ant hills. They're creating environments for themselves that allow them to do what they do best and are optimal for their functioning. And I have taken this idea from evolutionary biology and applied it to human culture, in the sense that we can create environments for neurodivergent individuals, or neurodivergent individuals can create their own environments so that their strengths are maximized and their difficulties are minimized, so that the universe essentially can fit into their agenda rather than they're always having to fit into the world. That's basically what the idea of niche construction is about. And I've identified 8 components of positive niche construction. And I talk about niche construction in more detail in an earlier video. In this particular video, I'm going to focus on one of the components, enriched human networks. And I'm going to be specifically addressing this component to the neurodivergent condition ADHD. Enriched human networks is something that we're all born into. Each one of us, whether we know it or not, exists in a real network of human relationships. Some of those relationships are uplifting, some of them are neutral, and some of them are dampening to our spirits. A bad relationship with the teacher, a bully in the schoolyard, that kind of thing. And what I suggest is that we look at how we can improve our social network by strengthening positive relationships and eliminating negative relationships. So essentially, this is what I'm going to suggest for ADHD. One way we can enrich social networks for ADHD is through ADHD coaching. Coaching has become a very much important feature of adult ADHD over the last 20 years. And it basically is the process through which an individual contracts with a certified ADHD coach to work on specific issues. It might be prioritizing tasks. It might be working on motivation, developing motivation for things that you're not interested in. People with ADHD have trouble with boredom, and so this is a way of maybe getting around that. And there are other tasks. Time management could be one of them. Using your executive functioning, basically developing the ability to plan, to organize, to evaluate yourself. All these are things that an ADHD coach can help you with. They don't help with, or they shouldn't probably help with, emotional in-depth counseling. That's something that you go to a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist or a marriage and family counselor for. But ADHD coaches are really great for cognitive issues, for systemic issues related to how you organize your life and how you manage your relationships and your tasks that you deal with in everyday life. Another social network enrichment for ADHD is called body doubling. I might call this ADHD coaching light, but it's not even really that. It's simply the process of working alongside of another individual while they work on their stuff and you work on your stuff. And there's there doesn't need to be any interaction at all. The connection could be personal. It could be through online, such as Zoom, or in another environment. And the theory behind body doubling is that having someone around while you're working on your stuff and they're working on theirs provides a measure of accountability. Even though you may not talk about it, just some studies suggest that being next to or in the midst of someone who is, witnessing in some degree what you're doing is saying to yourself, well, I better do this, or I'm going to disappoint my body partner. So at any rate, that may not be exactly the thought. It's a way of motivating the self to get to work. Sometimes you just feel more motivated when you're around people. I imagine there must be a body tripling and body quadrupling, and in other words, having a crowd with you, which can also instill in you a sense of accountability and responsibility and a dedication to committing, getting your task, whatever it may be, done. It may be on the computer, it may be in some other capacity. But that's another way of thinking about enriching your relationships, is having at least one or more body doubles in your life. Another strategy is for green buddies. And by that, I mean someone in your life who you can just take walks with, someone you can go hiking with, or it may be in a group. Someone, maybe in a sense, it's like moving body doubles, except that you're not working on your laptop. You're out there doing what many ADHD people do best, and that is moving. And being out in nature is in particular important because research suggests that nature has a quieting effect on people with ADHD. Children who are in nature, who are ADHD, find their symptoms go down. And the wilder an environment they're in, the more their symptoms go down. So, joining up with a local community hiking group, or simply calling a friend and asking them to go on a hike with you. It could be anything as simple as a 20-minute walk around the block, or it could be a 30-day or a week-long camping trip in the wilds or in a state park or something like that. Another thought about enriching your social networks is getting involved in sports teams. One of the strengths of people who are diagnosed with ADHD is that they are often physical learners. They learn best with stimulation and oftentimes physical stimulation, by moving, by getting things done. And a sports team can offer that on many different levels. It could be as simple as a sandlot game played informally by some friends in a nearby park or playground, or it could be something more competitive. But the important thing is being in a social group where the emphasis is on cooperation, consideration, and plenty of bruising physical interaction. Another example of a social way of enriching or deepening your social network is getting involved in a fitness center somewhere near where you live. The process, and again, this may be like body doubling. The process of exercising next to someone is motivating. You're accountable to the people in your fitness center for making sure you meet your fitness targets. And it might be running a treadmill, it might be working with machines, it might be barbells, it might be taking a Pilates class or a class in yoga, or a water aerobics class. There are a lot of ways in which you can get involved. But the important thing is you're enriching your environment, you're connecting with people, and you're doing it in a way that makes use of your strengths. Your penchant for speed, for physical activity, and so forth. Another social enrichment is getting involved in arts organizations. Every community has some sort of art or recreational center where they put on classes that oftentimes have to do with art. Uh, Colleges and junior colleges often have courses in the arts. In particular, for people with ADHD, something that involves hands-on art is probably better than something that's more like drawing, for example. Not that that wouldn't be also a very good choice, but where you can get your hands dirty and you can make interesting things, functional things, or aesthetically pleasing things, an arts organization can be a place where you meet like people like you, essentially, who also love the arts. Research suggests that people who are identified as having ADHD are novelty seekers, and they tend to score higher on creativity tests than neurotypical people. So this is a way of finding other creative people who, like you, enjoy getting their hands dirty in the clay. And then finally, I'd like to suggest volunteerism as an option. And I've highlighted here firefighting. Research suggests that people with ADHD, as I said, love novelty, they love speed, they love adrenaline, thrills and chills. They're actually understimulated, and their hyperactive behaviors are attempts to get themselves an optimal level of stimulation. So firefighting fits that to a T because there's a lot of movement, there's emergencies always going on, the need to be quick, the need to cooperate with others. All very good for the person with ADHD. And many communities have volunteer firefighting units that are sort of an adjunct to the established professional firefighting units in each town. You could also think of similar roles like emergency medical technician, getting trained in that, taking a class in that, or even in CPR is a way of bonding with people who are into the same kind of things as you are. So that's just a picture of, and this is the tip of the iceberg really, but it's some suggestions for how you might enrich your social networks by finding people who are like you, who share your strengths, who share your penchants for novelty, for speed, and so forth. And I go into this more deeply in my book, The Power of Neurodiversity. I hope you get the book. I hope you share it with your friends and family and your teachers and your co-workers and others, and that you utilize or find it helpful in many aspects of your life. You can go to my website and sign up for my blog posts at institute4learning.com, www.institute4learning.com. If you go to my homepage or my blog page and you put your email address in the sign-up sheet, you'll receive automatically my 200-item neurodiversity strengths checklist, which is a real positive way of taking an inventory of your gifts, talents, abilities. And for neurodivergent individuals, this is important because for so long, neurodivergent individuals have taken tests that have told them what they're not good at. And it's about time that they took something that they would tell them what they're good at. And so that's what I put together. This is from my book, but it's also available to you through this signing up for my blog posts. I want to thank you again for listening, for watching. I hope the information was useful to you. And whether or not you're a neurodivergent person or someone who's teaching or taking care of a neurodivergent individual, I hope that you take the lessons that you learned from this and from my book and use it to enrich the lives of all those that you run into. Thank you so much.